Hi, this is Green Dreams Come True, and you're joining us today for a solventless extract on hemp. So we're gonna make hemp hash using just dry ice, which you can buy at any local grocery store, and 5 different sizes of micron bags. These micron filters separate out different sizes of trichomes and plant material. So we're going to start with the smallest size and slowly increase to the largest size. I have tried the opposite method in the past and found a lot of green broken up plant material. So the material that we're working with today is a combination of 4 different hemp phenotypes grown here in Utah, and they were all grown in different conditions and different soils. So this bottom material here, even though we would call it shake, it's actually really good. If you look up really close under the microscope, it's full of trichomes. It was at the bottom of a container, so it's really good quality extraction material as long as we treat it properly. These bigger colas, these nugs, we're gonna break up just a little bit, but we're not gonna powderize anything. We're just gonna create a little bit more surface area, okay? The less powder that we have in here, the better. But anything that you can get to around the size of a pea is really good. So this just takes a minute. I'm gonna quickly and just kind of roughly segment some of these nugs. They're very dry, which is ideal for this extract. We don't want any moisture. If you're using dry ice, do not use it on a wet plant material, okay? The moisture will not cause the reaction that you want for extraction. This is different from the cryotrim method, by the way, where you're using liquid CO2. It does have similar effects. And what we're trying to do is to pull off all of the pollen. When you separate the pollen from the plant material, you're creating an extract. And you can compress that together, which we will also do, using this pollen press into hash. From there, you can use this material to transform it into a variety of different cannabis-based concentrates and extracts. Okay, so we're gonna get started with our smallest sized micron bag. This is only 25 microns. Typically, you would only use this with a wet extract, doing, like bubble hash. Today, we're going to experiment and see what kind of effect it has and if we get anything out of it, if it's any different from the other hash extracts that we're making. From there, we're going to transition to 73, 120, 160, and 220 micron. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to take my plant material and put it directly into the bag. These are special bags that have nice drawstrings. Trust me, the drawstring is your friend. I should probably add in my dry ice before I pull it all the way. The nice difference about these bags is that they have the micron fiber all the way around instead of just on the bottom. I've used micron bags that just have this material on the bottom, and I found that a lot of the pollen gets stuck to the side of the bag. We're going to see how much more effective this method is today. I'm going to pour all of the dry ice in, and today I'm working with 76 grams of hemp plant material, and I'm also working with 1.5 pounds of dry ice. The dry ice was broken up with the soft mallet while inside of the bag, varying sizes. You do not want a powder when you add it in, but you also do not want chunks that are too large, okay? We want a slow release of the CO2 to have the maximum effect. Now what I'm gonna do is make sure my string isn't in the way, get a really good hold on the top here, make a little ball, and I'm gonna gently agitate and shake the container. Into the same location over and over, and I like to give it a little mix sometimes so that you can make sure that the plant material is actually touching the surface area of the CO2. You do have a certain amount of time because the CO2, when it's in the warm air, it'll start to evaporate from the solid state directly into the gas state, and you will run out of dry ice. So don't walk away. It's hard to see, but a layer is forming. And this first layer, what I'm looking for, it's hard to tell, is a change in color. Okay, I don't want anything that's dark green, but because of this micron size, we're probably only going to get really, really white material out. I'm going to give it a little bit of a shake here and get ready to collect my material and then transition to the next bag size. So I'm just going to put this over here for now, out of the way. Grab my scraper. You can use any card. Once I scrape it together, you'll start seeing the material, and you really need a big flat surface area like the one I'm using, or you are not going to collect all of your hash. Sadly, you know, I've seen quite a few extractions where a lot of it ends up on the table or in the garbage, on the floor. Here's our 25. We'll make that pretty later. For now, just getting it out of the way so we can start the next micron size. Normally I would use a tool for that, but my fingers are gonna get a little sticky today. All right, now for the next size, what I'm gonna do is insert the end of the bag that I'm swapping it out of. It's gonna be a little messy. Try your best not to spill any plant material onto your surface area, or you are gonna have to clean it off. It's a pain that you don't wanna deal with. And just very gently, like that, very gently, tilt it upside down. Try to get all the plant material in and clean up any that you spill like I just did. A lot of people will discard these bags after one use. I want to teach you a trick today. Do you see how it's dirty? That is hash collected onto the bag, and you can extract it using alcohol, preferably Everclear, which is 95% alcohol. And you can pull that off and make a distillate with it, so you don't have to waste that material, and it allows you to clean out your bag and reuse it. So I'm going to quickly collect up what I've spilled here so it doesn't mix into my hash. Sometimes you gotta improvise. All right. This is the 73 micron bag. Pulling my drawstring, and we'll get started right away. So it's already mixed, so I don't really need to agitate it like I did before, but as you can see, it's already falling out of the bag. This micron size is about 3 times as wide as the previous micron size. It's letting through a lot more material, and you can actually see that it's a browner color already than the previous extract, which is lighter. We'll compare the colors at the end so you can see the difference. And remember, I'm agitating, I'm not smashing. This is not like bubble hash where you are violently agitating the material. I am simply trying to separate it from the plant biomass, from the cellulose. And what the CO2 is doing is it's helping to break the covalent bond that sticks the medical alkaloids onto the plant material. So that's why I really like CO2. It doesn't get your material wet. I don't like getting hash wet for various reasons. Once you're done with this process, you can use the remaining plant material to extract what's left using butter or oil, for example. All right, we're gonna collect this up. And as you can see, much more came through this time. Much more. Which is the pattern you'll see throughout the rest of this process. I didn't shake too long. If you did, you'll actually get more material, but you're going to increase the ratio of plant material in that mixture. And the goal is concentration and separation. Okay, you're trying to separate the good medical usable parts of the plant from the parts that are not usable. All right. I'm gonna move that a little bit. Try to do a good job, and when you're done, you can actually clean off the surface area using a paper towel and some isopropyl alcohol. For sanitizing, I would do 70%, but for removal, for cleaning, you can use 90%. And it will just pull it right off of whatever it's stuck to. Don't do that method if you're planning to use what you've extracted. Use Everclear instead. Okay, next bag. This one is our 120 micron, and I'm not gonna spill this time. Same thing, you can see that the bottom screen is dirty. Later in our other video, we will show you how to have as little waste as possible throughout this process, how to clean your material so that you can use it again, and how to get the most out of what you're using so you don't have any waste. At the end of this process, this plant material will be used to make butter, at which point it will be essentially rendered useless, and the remaining plant material will then be rinsed and used in compost. So every single part of the cannabis plant can be used sustainably and somewhat renewably. Oh, look at that. You see the bigger chunks falling out? Sometimes I like to grab the side of the bag to get a little more side action. Just a gentle shake, dislodge some. The bottom of the bag will sometimes get little particles stuck on it. Sometimes I like to give it a little shake. Okay, so I wouldn't stay on any of these phases, shaking wise, for more than a minute. So you'll really start noticing a darkening of the color. You're starting to notice it now. It's hard to see unless you're here in person. That's all we're gonna do for this bag. I'm gonna collect it together. The 120 micron hash, hemp hash. If you're going to use this material for edibles, you do need to decarboxylate it to make sure that all of those medical alkaloids are bioavailable to you. If you do not decarboxylate them through heating or other methods, essentially you're wasting a big part of your mixture on alkaloids that could be medical that aren't. So for example, THC-A and CBD-A can both be decarboxylated and made bioavailable, and what happens is through that process you're removing the A, and that acetyl group gives it a physical structure that makes it so that you can't interact with it on a human receptor site level. Okay, and the purpose of decarboxylation is to turn THC-A into THC and to turn CBD-A into CBD. So if you ever do this process, I recommend that you do a professional COA on it afterwards to make sure that you are within your state's legal guidelines. You can ask for that information anytime from your Department of Agriculture. Okay, on to the next. 2 more to go and we're all done. Just gonna clean up my piles a little bit. This is a messy process. That's okay. All right. Here is our 160 micron. I do normally like to have a 90 micron. This set of bags did not include one, and that's okay. Different alkaloids have different micron widths, and that's the purpose of, you know, separating like this is really you're trying to make sure that you're leaving in all the plant material and you're pulling out anything that has alkaloids in it. This technique was actually developed in India thousands of years ago, and interestingly, their highly valued silk was used. So they would actually sacrifice their silk to process their plant material and make hashish. And this micron fiber adaptation is the modern iteration. Definitely a superior method, but I think it's super cool what human innovation can do. This crop has been around for thousands of years. Okay, so I've already got material falling out. This 160 micron is about 6 times the size, the width of what we started with our 25 micron, a little over 6. And at this point, you do want to be really careful not to over agitate, because you're going to get a lot of plant particles in there. And as you can see, I'm already getting a lot out without too much agitation. You can take this hash and further extract it with other processes, but this at least separates it from all the main plant material. Okay, let's get this cleaned up. As you can see, the powder really spreads. I can visibly see the difference in the colors. It's really cool. Last bag. Usually this process will take me a lot longer because I'm very finicky about it, but today I'm trying to hurry for the sake of the video. However, it's going very nicely. As you can see, we don't have too much plant material stuck on this last one because it was stuck onto the previous ones, those smaller particles. And so this is a lot cleaner, but we will still do an Everclear or ethyl extraction. Did not open that enough. Okay, so this last bag, I'm going to be violent with it. I'm going to agitate it as much as I can. This is the 220 micron bag, and the final one that we're going to use today. It's kind of unnecessary to use anything bigger than that because really you've already pulled out anything good at that point if you did it properly. Look at that, it's already compiling. Alright, gonna call it there. Just gonna set this over here in my bags. Make our last pile and we're done. So as you can see, as we transition into the larger micron sizes, we end up with more hash, more pollen extracted, more plant material, and a darker color. So the finer micron hash is going to be finer quality than the larger micron sizes. If you did a COA analysis on each of these, you would definitely come up with different percentages just because of this physical separation process. Okay. So when they say green thumb, that's what they mean. Yeah, if you rub it off, it'll come off easily for you. So, I'll move this a little closer. There you go. So as you can see, there's a definite, obvious, noticeable change of color and an increase of the amount in each size. In our next videos, we're going to focus on how to use material like this to further extract and concentrate this material to make infusions, to make ethanol extracts, and then how to use them in food. So thank you for joining us today. We'll have a second part of this clip where we show you how to press this material into beautiful little hash pellets. That'll be right next. Thanks for joining us, and may your green dreams come true. All right. How did that go, guys?
It was good.
Was I super nervous sounding?
No, I think once you really got into it, you sound pretty...
Yeah, I just gotta get in the zone and pretend like you guys aren't here.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You're not here. All right, so...
I do see now exactly why you start out with the small and then move to the big.
I've done it the other way, and I can show you the difference.
Disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, but look at that. Look how white that is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this, is there somewhere you want to put this? Because what we can do is use it for butter next. And then we'll use alcohol to pull off the material from the back. So we need something to, we can even put it in here if you're just real careful about it. Want to do that?
Yeah, let's just
Okay. All right, since I already got all the stuff out, I'm going to do the other video with him, but we'll take a break for a minute. We're just going to do the hash pressing really quick.
Okay. So what do you want me to do?